So, on your first sub-point about debt, what's China's incentive to kind of debt trap and expand geopolitical influence without improving economies?
One, I would say that their improvement of the economy is very short-sighted. I would say that right now the growth measures that they're pursuing aren't very long-term. They have a lot of excess resources back home.
I'm asking about incentives. Like, what's their incentive to just?
But then two, their incentive to take over those geopolitical interests would be one, security. They're a growing global power. They probably want to push back against the hedge of competing rivals, whether it's India or the United States. That's why they did things like Sri Lanka.
So can you
but then
have
secondly,
a
I
strong
would also
security
say because
without a strong
they control
economy?
Economic resources there.
What?
I mean you can technically control a security apparatus without a strong economy. North Korea does it just fine. But that's a different kind of example.
North Korea is like an isolated state that is
no,
like
you're
the
right.
joke of
I'm
the
saying
entire world.
So if China wanted to basically continue to have a strong military with a weak economy, they do have the resources and the potential to do so. We see it exist elsewhere. I'm just saying that their geopolitical expansion isn't necessarily the same. However, if they control resources abroad, for example, Sri Lanka, they have a 99 year lease there.
Yeah.
They don't need a strong economy to have troops there, right?
Example of that.
I don't have to pay to put people in my own territory. It's their territory. Okay, so this transportation infrastructure, is it the bulk of the BRI investment?
Infrastructure is the most of the
and so this transportation infrastructure, what is it connecting? It's connecting ports and railways, right?
It's tons of different things.
So are these economic hubs?
The whole of the BR is about infrastructure. A lot of it is about ports and railways, a lot of it's about energy, and a lot of it is about power grids.
For this energy, for this infrastructure, is it going into rural areas or is it going into developed areas?
It's all over.
What's an example of an energy center in a rural area or a port in a rural area?
So for example, ports are all on coastlines.
That's what I'm saying.
At least in energy sectors, the best example that we would give is in Kenya. There's a lot of expansion of energy grids. They're one of the countries that have done the best in the BR. The point of the BRI is it's the new.
My question is
wait, can I?
Sure.
Yeah, answer the question. The logical warrant that we would give is that the point of the BRI is to connect the globe, because the more points that you have across the globe that are connected, the more trade that you can do, the better economies.
The expansion of the cables that you're pushing forward. Sure.
Okay. Cool. So, on your argument about green tech, would you agree that Xi Jinping likes green tech and he, would like to promote its expansion?
He probably likes green tech for China, but he also likes getting rid of surplus coal and oil that they can't use at home abroad. So they're not incompatible interests, right? What he wants for his own country.
Well, sure. So let's say that he needs to get rid of coal now. That's a pretty short-term thing, right?
No, it's not, because
the product
they have the
future,
largest.
he'll stop producing
they have the largest reserves of coal in the world, and also they're increasing fuel exports. So even if it's not about energy production, it's also things like transportation.
That's fair.
Because they're literally giving countries the gasoline and things.
Now that's fair, but if you
can
agree that green tech is a better technology, then that makes more sense. That it's the long-term solution.
If you're flooding a market with cheap energy resources and you drive down the price of things like coal, even if it's in the short term, you still build up environmental harms in the long term. It's not it just poofs from the atmosphere when you switch to green tech.